Hello, back again. This is going to be day 6. We are going to continue again with Mary as the new Ark of the Covenant. This one is going to be about Mary as our means and guarantee for victory, as shown through her typology of the Ark of the Covenant. So first, we're going to begin with understanding how the Israelites, picking up from Exodus, had built the ark, and the ark was where they would speak with God, where Moses specifically would speak with God. And as they're leaving, they're progressing to the Holy Land, which is not from the Holy Land to the Promised Land, which is all that God had given them, and the whole reason they left Egypt. The whole purpose of the Exodus is to go to the Promised Land. And so Moses ends up dying and does not end up reaching the Holy Land himself. And he appoints Joshua to be his successor. And this was directed to him by God, that Joshua will be the just one, the righteous one, to pick up the leadership in mediation of God and the Israelite people. So Joshua gets direction, this is then in the book of Joshua, to have the Ark of the Covenant progress ahead of the people of Israel. God gives a specific distance, saying, hey, the ark will be carried by the priests, held as they should on the rods that are on the side of the Ark of the Covenant, and the whole congregation, the whole people, should follow behind the Ark of the Covenant, and that will be where it is. That will lead you where you should go. And so they first come upon the Jordan River, and that is actually a very intense, very powerful river that, with all that the Israelites had, all of the women and children and all their belongings, they would not have been able to cross. And so right when they come up to it, they already start to murmur and complain, worry, oh crap, is this it? But God gives Joshua direction through the Ark of the Covenant to say that when the priests who are holding the Ark of the Covenant, as soon as their feet step into the Jordan River, the Jordan will start to separate, and it will be enough for all of the people to cross through. This is a monumental sign, and it is very providential if we think about Joshua, which is actually the same name as Jesus in Hebrew, Jeshua, which, if you have seen the Passion, that's by Mel Gibson with Jim Caviezel as playing Jesus, that's the pronunciation that they use for Jesus, is they use Yeshua, which is the same words, same one who leads the Israelite people into the Promised Land is Jeshua. And what of all things leads this process, allows this process to first happen, is the Ark of the Covenant. And is actually the Ark who first progresses into the Promised Land before Joshua himself does. Similarly, Mary is the one who is the first of all creation to taste the fruits of the salvation and blood anointing, healing power of Jesus Christ. And this is really incredible. Then, as the Hebrew people, the Israelites get to the Promised Land, Joshua builds a memorial in order to remember that this was the place that God brought them over into the Promised Land. They come upon the greatly fortified city of Jericho. And it is very interesting that Joshua ends up gets spoken to by an angel of the Lord, and he gives them a very odd advice. He says, this is in Joshua 7. Let me find here. Joshua 6. And the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have given into your hand Jericho, with its king and mighty valor. You shall march around the city, all the men of war going around the city once. Thus you shall do for 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark, and on the 7th day you shall march around the city 7 times, and priests blowing the trumpets. And when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, then all the people shall shout with a great shout, and the wall of the city will fall down flat, and the people shall go up every man straight before him. So Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said to them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. End quote. And so God gives them this odd direction. He says, march around the city 7 times with one time a day for 7 days or 6 days. And then on the 7th day, you'll march around 7 times and blow a horn. And the Ark of the Covenant will lead you this whole way. And inevitably, when they finally get to that 7th day, they go around the 7th time, they blow the trumpets, and Joshua gives the command to all of his army saying, shout with joy like you've just won the war. And when they do that, when the ram's horn blow and everyone waits and they do it on his cue, all the walls of Jericho, which is one of the most fortified city-states in all of this time, falls down, and they easily are able to walk in and win the battle and take over the whole city. And everyone is amazed, and they have an incredible fear of the Lord and an incredible trust and reminder in the power of God and how much they need to listen. And this is, if we bring this messaging, this power of the Ark of the Covenant, there's a similar situation, I guess not exactly similar, but in terms of the providence of Mary looking after the church and looking after her people. It's October 7th, 1571. It is now known as Our Lady of Victory, or Our Lady of the Rosary, and originally was Our Lady of Lepanto, which was where the Battle of Lepanto, where the Christian forces who were outnumbered and undersupplied were able to beat the attacking Muslims. And what Pope Pius V, he's a saint now, he petitioned the whole Catholic Church to pray the Rosary, and that if they pray the Rosary, they will bring about the victory of their Christian forces over the Muslims. And so after this monumental, miraculous miracle, being outnumbered and outsupplied, Pope St. Pius V instituted a feast day called Our Lady of the Rosary, in which would honor Our Mary's powerful intercession and aid in all things, especially in protecting the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is a type of Israel as the chosen people. And so when we think of Mary, we can think of the Ark, and when we think of Israelites, we can think of the Catholic Church. If we were to even go more recent, in the 20th century, St. Maximilian Kolbe also has a very Marian approach to his evangelization. And he had a motto that he said his goal was to conquer the whole world through the Immaculata. To conquer the world for Christ through the Immaculata. The Immaculata refers to the Immaculate Conception, which is the title that Mary referred to herself as at Our Lady of Lourdes. And so in the same way that Joshua is going to conquer the Promised Land through the Ark of the Covenant leading the way, Maximilian Kolbe is saying that he is going to conquer the whole world for Christ, evangelize and win souls to love and serve God through the Blessed Virgin Mary. And from beginning the militia, he formed a group or an organization called the Militia Immaculata, the Military of the Immaculate Heart, in Rome in 1917. And before his death in 1941 or around the 1940s, forgive me the exact date, I don't remember, he died giving his life for a fellow prisoner in an Auschwitz concentration camp. But the empire that he had built through this organization of the Immaculata spread with the heart of it beginning in Poland and spread all throughout Europe, and even had missions in Japan, and served to greatly evangelize and bring many, many souls to Christ through the Immaculate Heart of Mary. And it is, even by modern secular analysis, St. Maximilian Kolbe put together an amazing and ingenious organizational and logistical system using modern day printing press, using all the available technology he had at the time and all available means of sacramentals, of normal things, of natural things, to bring about this incredible wave of love for Jesus Christ through his Immaculate Mother. And so when we think of what are the implications of this and how this relates to this typology of today, is a little different, that it doesn't directly relate between the Old Testament and the New Testament, but is a figure that matches from the Old Testament of Joshua and the Ark of the Covenant to more recent interactions, more recent situations where the power of Mary is manifested. And so the so what of this is that we must realize that we have to rely on Mary to lead us, and that we have to trust in her that she is going to bring victory. If we do the will of God, if we do the will of Mary, which are synonymous because Mary is so perfectly united to God that her will cannot be separated from the will of God, that we will bring about victory. Individually in our lives, it'll get better. The people we love will be converted. Our sufferings, our pains will get easier to bear. And then secondly, as we take, especially after St. Maximilian Kolbe, but also shown in Joshua, is that we have to use every supernatural and legitimate means, meaning natural or earthly means, to glorify God. And when we look at Joshua and his military prowess, there was as he later ends up going after Jericho, he conquers all of the land of Canaan with the Ark of the Covenant leading the way, not all as miraculously as the walls of Jericho, but with good military strategy. We have to use we have to use our reason in the same way that Joshua used his military strategy to help conquer the different city-states of Canaan, and how St. Maximilian Kolbe used all the available means of technology, of the printing press, of literature, of art, in order to evangelize. We have to use every means, especially of this miraculous medal and other sacramentals, we have to use every legitimate means to glorify God through the natural things of the world as well. And so, as an invitation, I especially ask you guys to, and myself, to really examine how am I using my reason, first of all, but how am I using the goods around me, all the things I have, to glorify God? Am I really putting everything at the disposal of Mary for her to use to save souls? Do I rely on her to bring victory? Do I trust on her to bring victory in my life and in the lives of my family? I know I'm convicted a bit by that, but it's a good invitation, and we turn to Mary. She'll lead the way. But as again, this Bible shows the incredible authorship of God, and I invite you guys to look through this again, and especially think of yourselves as the Israelite people as we travel through, as they travel to the Promised Land. But God bless. Amen.